All right, let's see if we can not lose that stream again. Let's see. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. You remember that little comment I said earlier about how I do this for my laptop? Well, guess who didn't plug his laptop battery in? And apparently, it's running a lot of stuff, so it died on me. I apologize for that, but we should be coming back here. We'll give people a minute to come jump back in. My fault. That was totally my fault. All right. And I cannot see the question, any other questions that you guys had. So if I didn't answer your question, please type it back in the comments and I'll jump back on it, answer your questions. Oh, hang on. Okay, everybody re-coordinated here. I apologize. Let's see. Wasn't so much a question for me, just a comment about the naming of these solo miners these days is bananas. I missed the first half. What are we working on? We're working on a couple of different things. We just did a replacement of a jack on a Plus Plus that was melted. The cable would not come out and the customer lost the center pin. So we just replaced that jack on this miner. And as I promised, she's up and running. Been running this whole time while we've been chatting about this other one that we're going to try and get off. 24 minutes. Cranking away, good temps. This thing's good to go. So I will remove this. So I'm sure there's going to be a question about why. Why did this happen? And then we'll get back to the Rev 6 melted CSD here in a second. So why would this happen? A couple reasons why this can happen. These jacks are rated for 8 amps. Okay? One of the reasons that they changed to the XT30 connector was to get more overhead on these. Let me fix this for a second. We should be back up there. Okay. To get a little bit more overhead so people could overclock without having a problem. So either one, we have a bad quality jack, because this doesn't happen often, but it does happen. We have a bad quality jack. We have a bad mating surface, so either the cable itself, and this is an aftermarket cable. This was hooked up to a Meanwell. And I'll send this back to the customer so he has it. But you can tell by this, the terminal ends that he was connecting on, he's got ferrules on here. So this was going on to like a Meanwell type auxiliary power supply. So we could have had a bad sizing here. Could be the cable end. Hard to say for sure. But it's not coming out, I can tell you that much, and that pin's in there. So it is likely, probably arced itself and caused a problem. We also had a blown fuse. But as you see, I changed nothing else on this. Charged the customer to swap out the jack, and the miner works fine. I changed nothing else on it. So yeah, we'll get this off, and then we'll take a gander at the other one and see if we can't get that CSD off, which I think it's a good possibility we'll get that off, but off that one, but definitely not off of the other one. I don't think the other one's gonna come off the way they would like it to. Do you also work on closed source designs like Magic Miners and Jingle Miners? I can look at anything. The closed source items are going to be much harder to fix if it's not something that I can identify and easily acquire. So when you start getting into SMD components, I'll give you an example. Both open source miners, so I can identify based on the documentation what they are. Again, in this design, I can pull a good one and identify what it is. But if not, it's a shot in the dark, and I just don't know. So you get into closed source stuff, that's the risk we take, is we start getting on that path of if the manufacturer doesn't provide information, then it can be very difficult to fix. We see this. This isn't just in these these little home miners. This is a problem in a lot of spaces, right? There's definitely lots of YouTube channels out there. I'll give you Northridge Fix is a really good one that I watch pretty often. He talks about this quite a bit because people send stuff into him, and it's sometimes you're hunting and pecking. You're trying to find as much information as you can. We talked earlier about the Canaan, the Nano 3S. If Canaan would release, hey, this is who we purchase our USB-C plug from. Here's the part number. Great. It'd be a lot more fixable, a lot easier to get the things that we need to get to keep those miners alive. But you get into some of these components, and if I have no reference component, there's not much I can do for you. So customers are always welcome to send them in. It's very, we'll evaluate it, we'll take a look, and we'll see if we can't identify the cause, and if it's something we can fix, we'll tell you. Otherwise, we'll tell you we can't. There's not much we can do. Honest opinion on retailers that sell quality products. Honest opinion on retailers that sell quality products. Yeah, that's very subjective. I would tell you, obviously, we manufacture some miners here in the United States. The components that come off that are from all over the world. But we take a lot of pride in board thickness, cooling designs, all the things that we do to try and have the best product for the customer. Sometimes that hurts us because that demands that we have to have a higher price. And customers sometimes are price driven, and I get it. I understand. I respect it. I would say that domestically in the U.S., I only know currently of 2, maybe 3 companies that manufacture miners here in the States. You get outside the States, I would say, I see power mining products are pretty good, just from what I've seen, what I've put my hands on. You get beyond that, I would avoid. Maybe the best way to say it is that like this. Outside of Solo Satoshi, because Solo Satoshi buys the majority of his miners from a gentleman that's based on the East Coast that manufactures in the U.S. and does a great job. Okay, he's a great manufacturer. So this is outside of Solo Satoshi. Power Mining builds their own. Outside of that, you're going to deal with a lot of resellers that are buying things, sometimes first, second, third hand, to sell to you. That's where it gets really risky with some of these because it's not so much who you're getting it from, it's who's making it, and it can be really sketchy. A lot of people buy on AliExpress, and then you deal with no support. I have seen some of these guys. I can't name who the supplier is, but I've had some customers tell me that manufacturer, refunded his money from my repair. Great, I think that's awesome. I think that's great that they're going to do that, but it's so hit or miss. It is really difficult to make recommendations as to who's good, who's bad. Like I said, Solo Satoshi has his miners made out of the East Coast. They do a good job. The gentleman that builds his stuff does a good job. And Matt's a good dude over at Solo Satoshi. So I got nothing bad to say about them. Power Mining's stuff, that I've got a Power Mining Octax in here right now. It's a nice thick board. It's a really nice design. Again, you're going to pay a premium over the stuff you can find on AliExpress. And that's really a personal decision that you've got to make. So it's really subjective. I would tell you buy all of our stuff, but that would. I'm not going to just try and toot our own horn at the same time. We're a small bespoke manufacturer. We build a limited quantity of things, but we try to bring the highest premium that we can to it in this support of the customer. So it's a difficult question to answer. I'm looking to buy more. Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. I know there's a lot of options out there, and here's what I would challenge people to do: don't just think about the initial purchase. Think about, if you have a problem, how is the support going to be? Who's going to support you? Who's going to take care of you? Think about it that way, because these things they're awesome, but they are little workhorses and they break. So, all right, this customer is good to go. Let's see here. He did. I'm going to take care of polishing the rest of his stuff up off live stream. Get his other heat sinks mounted back up, because I'm probably not what you guys want to see. I am going to see if we cannot get this one off. Now, this has been cleaned with alcohol. This is the remnants of the burn from when this failed. I can scratch this like that. You can see it flaking off, but I wiped this with alcohol and it didn't want to come off. So we're going to see if we can't get this off. Cross our fingers that we can save it. What other questions you guys got for me, man? I'm happy to answer anything I can, point you in the right direction. I'm based in Canada, and sometimes the shipping to get miners from Solo Satoshi and Power Mining costs as much as the miners in Canada. All the OSMU sellers are just resellers. Yeah, Canada's tough, man. And I will also add that a lot of the shipping companies will tack on a premium for shipping to Canada, and I don't know if that's a Canadian thing, like fees that they're paying, or I don't know. We ship to Canada, but I can tell you right now, we have contemplated on many occasions not doing that, just because of the headache, and I don't know why. I don't know the reason. I don't know the reason why they make it so challenging for us, but they do. They do. So that means that you're getting just as much as the miners. In Canada, all the OSMU sellers are just resellers. Yeah, they are. I wonder where they're buying from. A lot of times what we'll see in the Canadian market, the stuff that comes to us, is a lot of it is coming off of out of Chinese factories. And then they're coming in and they're being sold. And that's fine. Again, China manufactures more electronics in the world than any other place. And you're going to get what you pay for. It's all based on the design. So when you're buying stuff, definitely consider board thickness and the cooling solutions that are provided on it, things like that. Lost the stream, but just before sending to you for repair. You don't want screen, heat sink, etc. Just the board. Good. Yeah. Save yourself the shipping. I don't need your display. I don't need your heat sink, and I don't need your power supply unless you believe you have a problem with the power supply. So save yourself the shipping. Plus, you start shipping these miners with the heat sinks on. If you don't pack them well, they can get damaged. So keep that in mind. Yeah, I don't need them. I have everything I need to test without them. If they're a NerdAx, a Noctax, a Gamma, a Nerd Gamma, any of those small home miners, you absolutely do not need to ship them to me with the heat sinks on them. But make sure that you're confident and you have heat sink thermal compound to remount it. Okay, that's I can't stress that enough. Does the QXU build have the new BM1370 ASIC chips? Well, the new ASIC chips are actually the BM1373s. 1370 has been out for 2 years. And yes, our QX does have the 1370s. We do not do the 1373 chips yet. I shipped mine on the stand because I didn't have a good way to pack the board safely. Understandable. Yep, I get it. I get it. Just make sure, make sure that when you pack it on the stand, that you, especially if it's like Power Mining ships their Octaxes on a metal stand, it's like an A-frame. There's no cross supports within that. If you don't pack that and support the inside, I have had them come in and they've been squeezed down, and I've had to try and straighten them out. So just be careful. Just remember that it's a lot of weight. And nobody that works for FedEx, UPS, or USPS really cares about what's in your box. So things get damaged. Things definitely get damaged. So just be mindful of that when you're shipping them to me. I have stuff that gets shipped to us. It's packed really good, bubble wrap, supported inside. I've had other customers ship stuff to me literally using grocery bags as packing material. So you're kind of, you know, your expectation needs to match what how you're shipping it. So just keep that in mind. What other questions you guys have for me, man? I'm happy to answer them while I'm waiting for this board to heat up. When I do these V-Regs, I always, pretty much always, depending on which one it is, I remove the fan header, the plastic fan header here to prevent melting. As you can kind of see it here. I took it off, and I'll reinstall it afterwards because I don't want to melt it. I'm trying to avoid it. And then I use a metal bracket as a shield, kind of a piece of metal shielding, to try and keep heat directed away from the display header. Now, obviously, I'm more than capable of replacing display headers, but it's extra work if you don't have to do it. You don't want to do it, trust me. It's not always fun. And I like to do fun stuff, you know? While that's warming up, I think we got to take a look at Doug. Let's see here. Curious Bread, will Ixtech ever sell refurbished units? I don't know. It's a good question. It's a fair question, and I'm not going to lie and tell you we haven't talked about it. But we have a real difficulty internally selling somebody else's product as refurbished and then, you know, risking our name behind that, because these things come in so many shapes and sizes. And when I say that, what I mean is, like, this one that's on here right now, this is going to be what appears to be a Solo Rev 6. I can tell by some of the components that are on it, the quality of the components. Nice thick board, well built, okay? If they were all like that, then maybe, but they're not. And they vary so much, and they're so different, and it's really hard for us to look at that and go, hey, buy this from us, and, you know, we don't want to be that company that doesn't stand behind the product. So that's a difficult question. Don't think we haven't thought about it, but at this point, it's not in our future. Hopefully that answers your question. I won't say never, but it's certainly not something that we're entertaining currently. While I'm waiting for that to heat up, there's a Power Mining Octax. I think we got it. Doug was in the chat earlier, and he asked about his Octax, and if it's... Doug, you still in the chat? If you are, chime up for a second. And unfortunately, we got bounced out of this into a new chat when the stream dropped. I'll keep an eye out looking for Doug to chime in. Hopefully he got back in the stream. All right, so let's see if we can get this off. I got the board up to temp. Let's keep our fingers crossed that this thing comes off smooth. And I know it's hard to see, but it's hard to have two things in the same place at the same time. Camera and a nozzle. They kind of smell like popcorn when they burn this bad and you're heating them up. It's kind of interesting. Somebody was asking me about the remastered TCH a second ago. The plus remastered, whatever the name is. It's kind of interesting because before I started this live stream, I was actually doing a video review on the Blanc, their 1373 single chip miner. And let's just say I was having a lot of fun with that. We did a full teardown on it, looking at the components that are on it, how it's built. That video will be coming out soon. But I have to finish the video because I ran out of time. She is taking some heat. Is not looking good on this one. Yep. You can see it's plenty hot. I've got this cap, and that chip will not come off that board. This is why we talk about using inline fuses on these board designs. Unfortunately, it ain't coming off. And I can continue to heat this board, and you can see I'm already starting to melt the header. On the back side, I'll pull this shield off. I'm sure I've got the coil displaced and coil started to twist. I've got plenty of heat in this board. That chip should have come right off. And there's absolutely nothing I can do. I could grind it like I talked about earlier for the people who are new. I could grind this thing down and break this to pieces, okay? And maybe save this, but what I'm gonna grind this down, and this is all surface mount, so I risk not having a good connection here and just end up with this CSD not contributing and causing other problems like heat. It's definitely not going to look good. So, yeah, this is the unfortunate nature of this. Run inline fuses if you're running aftermarket power supplies, please. The unfortunate thing about this is now I got to tell this customer that there's nothing I can do for you, man. Unfortunately, I can't get it off. So, and that's his money's, wasted. So, all right, let's see what else we got here. Mine said we had a ground fault on the main power rail. I'm from Virginia, if that helps, but no rush. I'm just curious if there was any visual damage or if you just use a multimeter to find the issue. Simply had a ground fault. Perfection Games. I shipped mine on the stand because I didn't have a good way to pack the board safely. Well, okay. What was your device? It was an Octax. The Octax, okay. From Virginia. Yeah, that does help me. Hang on. Canada, yes, I would say yes. I have your Octax right here. I don't know if you guys can see me, sorry. You did ship it on the stand. It's actually in my line here for repair. Okay. Yeah, I'll show you this, but I'm not going to name you for your own safety. No physical damage on yours. You have a fuse on your board, which is great. That prevents what you see on your screen right now. And then on yours, let's see if you guys can see it. What I do, this is going to be hard, but I'm trying to show you guys on camera. What I do when I identify it is I mark it with an ultraviolet light so I can identify which one. So I'll go through, the camera's going to trip for a second. I'll go through and I'll work through my evaluations and mark, and then I email the customer and I start on my next one. I'll kind of assembly line them and I'll mark it so then I can come back and go, yep, that's the one I got to change. No physical damage on yours. It's just bad. It needs to be replaced. It's shorted out, so. I think you're the only one I have from Virginia, so I think that's yours. That's what you were asking me about. It is in my line, so that'll actually get done either late tonight or tomorrow. If you haven't yet, check out the rest of the videos. Yep. Comment. So, yeah. Yep. That's good. This is, again, I can't stress this enough, guys. We should have stock of our inline fuses back in for boards like this within the next, I would say within the next week. We have been, unfortunately, waiting longer than we should have waited for them to come in. We have them manufactured. We actually increased the amount that we ordered this time. So, because they go pretty quick. And I can't stress it enough. They're not very expensive. Check us out online. I think one of my partners, Sean, will post a link to the inline fuses. We are currently out of stock, and we're hoping, again, within the next week. So sign up for notifications. It's super affordable, but it can save the loss of a $300 miner. So very unfortunate. I'm gonna have to give this customer the bad news that it is not coming off, and there's nothing I can do for him. So I hate having him send those emails, and I won't charge him. He approved the quote, and I advised him that there is a possibility that this could happen, but I won't charge him for any of the time trying to get it off. He'll pay his $25 evaluation fee that he already paid. I'll advise him as to what's going on, and then we'll go from there. So that sucks. Man, I hate making those. I tell people that I can't fix their miner. But I think it's $5.99 for the fuses. I tell you, it's save you a $300 miner. Very unfortunate. It was one of the FETs. Oh, I wanted to ask you if you recommend using heat sinks on the chokes or FETs. Yeah. Here's what I recommend on an Octax. And you can check us out on our website, and we'll post a link here in a second. I recommend going to the 120 millimeter fan shroud with that Arctic fans that diverts air over the heatsink, over the V-regs. And if you're running a heatsink that has two mounting screws on the outer edges, be careful, because the center of that heatsink likes to bow up. So then it just shields any airflow, and it doesn't touch those V-regs, and they get no thermal transfer contact, and it's not doing anything at all. So I think the best solution I've seen for the Octax is individual heat sinks on each of the next FETs on the V-regs, and the 120 millimeter cooling kit that we offer. We have just the shroud, or you can get the copper heat sinks, the shroud, and the fans. We sell the fans, all that there. That provides the best cooling performance. But here's what I'm going to tell you. We believe it's going to give you more longevity. It's not going to cure, it's not going to prevent all V-reg failures from occurring. There's a lot of contributing factors to it, heat being one of them, just one of them. So take a look at that link. A lot of people really like that. that shroud that we've designed. We designed that shroud and we print that shroud in-house. We've been, I would say, partners with Arctic for probably the last year. We work pretty closely with Arctic. We like their products from their thermal paste and their fans. You know, their fans perform better than Noctua. They are a little bit louder at higher RPM, but they move more airflow. And that trade-off for us is just, it's not worth it. You're not going to get the performance out of a Noctua fan that you will out of an Arctic fan, and that price to performance level, Arctic can't be beat. Not in this space. Not in this space. I'm not, you know, Noctua makes a great fan, but so does Arctic. So check that out. That's what I would recommend on that front. So it's getting a little late, guys. We had originally planned to do this stream for an hour. We went to an hour and 20 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Keep an eye out. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Keep an eye on our videos. You need a repair, you know, hit us up, ixtech.xyz. At the top, click on the repair link. Fill out the form. Make sure, copy the form in the box, or even a handwritten note saying what your repair order number is, because a lot of the labels that we're getting in do not have the customer's name on it, on the return shipping. So if I get a box that I don't know who it belongs to, it's going to sit here until eventually either someone contacts me or I throw it away, because I have absolutely no clue who it would belong to at that point. So I'm bringing it up because I've seen it happen a few times. Fortunately, I haven't had to sit on a miner for a very long time, but I don't want to have to stack your stuff up here and not know who it belongs to. Let's try to avoid that. But yeah, any questions, please feel free to comment on our YouTube videos. Hit us up. We're on X. We're on Facebook. I think they still call it's X now, right? Not Twitter. Yeah, I don't know. I don't handle the social media stuff. That's the gentleman who keeps posting the links in the chat. So yeah, we're here to help you. We're here for all your accessory needs. Miners. We do still build miners. Again, we're a bespoke manufacturer, so we don't produce these things in thousands of quantity at a time. And we do obviously lots of repairs. So we'll try and do lives more, you know, at least every couple of weeks as schedules see fit. All of us work regular daytime jobs as well as doing this, running this company and working our regular jobs, and we all have families, so it can be challenging sometimes with the schedules, but you know, we enjoy what we do. So thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate everybody's time. I appreciate you tuning in. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. It helps us out. And we're working on getting some affiliate links in the videos. So appreciate it. Thanks, guys.